Alright, first thing I did was I got this thing on jack stands on the frame and I blocked the rear tires. And what I just did now was pulled the front shock absorbers off. Use some WD-40 on some of these bolts if you know you're going to do the job and soak them. On the top, the shock were stuck, so I had to put some heat on them and they broke free. From what I understand, the rear shocks are kind of a pain the way they sit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to put heat to them. I may have to just somehow cut them apart, or I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to the back. But getting ready to pull the lower A-arms off and do the lower A-arm bushings. I had changed the ball joints and it was still squeaking really bad when I looked at it. The lower A-arms, the bushings are shot, so I'm getting ready to unhook the lower ball joint. First I'm going to get my jack under here and get a little pressure on it, and then hopefully I can pop that ball joint apart without messing up the boot. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll bring you back here in a second. Uh-oh. Looks like trouble. Trouble in here. Yep. I'll show you what's going on. These are the A-arms. And you saw this in a kit form. The whole lower setup with new ball joint, and I suppose if you had limited access to tools, that probably would be the way to go to do it yourself, you know. Because these old bushings, well, yeah, they don't want to come out. I had the luxury of having air tools. Now, I think this is similar to the Chevelle. Two different sizes. There's a smaller one in the front of the lower A-arm, and in the back, for whatever reason, there's a bigger bushing. Of course, I ordered my parts online, and I got 4 of these big ones. So I got to go to AutoZone or whatever and pick up a couple of those tomorrow. But you know, that's one of them things, you know, like Rock Auto and all that. Sometimes you can get a good deal if you get the right parts. I ordered some brake parts from them, I guess. And there's I think it was for the Crown Victoria. On the fronts, there's metal clips that hold the it was either that or my truck. There's these metal clips. Anyway, there's 2 different clips per caliber, and they gave me 4 of the same clips. You know, it's kind of like there's nowhere to go and complain when you order online. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's see what else is going on. Oh, I got this thing jacked up. I got to pull the front wheel off and get yeah, I got the lower end pulled off of this thing. While I had this off, I'm going to do the shocks. But I had just replaced one of those. That's the sway bar link. And I should have done both of them because the other one came apart or was already messed up. So that I've already got those fixed up. Replace those. Yeah, the lower A-arm, those bushings are tough to get out. You have to be willing to put up a fight. Um, Otherwise, I would say buy the whole lower A-arm. Or take it to a mechanic. But then, that's how that goes. So, that's it for now. Waiting on parts to reassembly. Okay, this is just what I'm doing. Okay, on these lower A-arms, they sell them, like I said, they sell the whole A-arm in a kit with the new ball joint and new bushings in, and I think it's a little bit pricey, I think it's like $160 or something. Anyway, if you don't have the tools to get these things apart, it's pretty much impossible. You can press these things out and stuff. What I did was I have an air hammer, and I have this bushing buster type tip, and with the air hammer I just got it going until I could just get underneath it and rattle that thing out of there. What I'm doing here to push them back in is I have different size chunks of steel. You can see I've made this out of a piece of, looks like fence post, and that's for some kind of bushing, or I don't know what it was. Anything you can round, you can get your hands on. On the bigger bushings, I actually use this to back my A-arm to give it a little room in there. Another thing too is I've got these big chunks of angle iron, and when I'm crunching these things back in, I keep the angle iron in on both sides to keep this shape, so that when I'm pressing these back in, I'm not deforming the A-arm. But just food for thought. These weren't easy to get in, they weren't easy to get out. Sure, there's probably a tool you can get somewhere, but I don't have it. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Oh, the other thing, I don't know if I already mentioned this or not, but I just got back from the AutoZone, and on these A-arms, there's two different size bushings. And when I ordered parts online, I just ordered 4 bushings for the car, and there's actually a smaller size and a bigger size. And that's just one of the pitfalls of trying to order stuff online. You never really know what. It's hard to find a good parts person, but I guess maybe if I would have researched it a little more, I could have figured it out. But it doesn't really specify. You just have to know what you're looking for. Anyway, I'm gonna get these crunched in, and like I said, this is kind of, everybody does things different, and that's the way I'm doing this one. So I'll get back to you here in a minute.